listening to Give God 90, where we're not afraid of the tough biblical questions, because we will dig through the language, the culture, and the history to find the truth revealed in the words of our Creator.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for letting us spend some time with you today. I am being closely monitored and supervised, although I may be the one to have to supervise today.
Maybe. Hello, everyone.
Oh, my. It's been a fun morning so far. And, life's too short not to enjoy it, right? If you're new, we appreciate you giving us a chance to sometimes make fun of ourselves.
That's it.
Check out GiveGod90.com if you haven't. The books are available if you like something. It's not light reading, but if you like to read, you can certainly enjoy those. Use them to study. If you like what you hear, please share, like, do all the things that you normally do. It just helps people find us easier. It's just the way it is. It's been a fun morning. So I'm just going to dive right in today because I've got a lot to cover. Way back in December, I need to tell you this in case you want to check that out as well. I had the privilege to teach for Messianic Delaware, and if you visit their website, messianicdelaware.com or .org, I keep forgetting which one it is. You'll see that there's a Zoom video and there's also the PowerPoint presentation I used. And that particular teaching from December 15th, I think is when it was, is titled, Solomon didn't get what he asked for. And I lay out the different aspects of what wisdom is. And in this episode, I want to look at how Solomon gives us some good advice because of what he knows. The first question we need to answer, though, is what I answered a few months ago. What did Solomon get if he didn't get what he asked for? And for that, we go to this particular passage, if you want to read that.
Then Solomon said, "You have shown great loving kindness to your slave David, my father, according to how he walked before you in truth and in righteousness and uprightness of heart towards you. You have kept for him in this great loving kindness." Sorry, I think I reread the thing. Lost my spot. That you have given him a son to sit on his throne, as it is this day. So now, O Jehovah my God, you have made your slave king in place of my father David. Yet I am but a little child. I do not know how to go out or come in. And your slave is in the midst of your people which you have chosen, a numerous people who are too many to be numbered or counted. So give your slave a listening heart to judge your people, to discern between good and evil. For who is able to judge this glorious people of yours? And it was pleasing in the sight of the Lord that Solomon had asked this thing. And God said to him, "Because you have asked this thing, and have not asked for yourself long life, nor have asked riches for yourself, nor have you asked for the life of your enemies, but have asked for yourself discernment to listen to justice. Behold, I have done according to your words. Behold, I have given you a wise and discerning heart, so that there has been no one like you before you, nor shall one like you arise after you." 1 Kings chapter 3, verses 6 through 12.
And if you want to read that without being confused.
It's been a morning.
It's been a morning, yes. Solomon asks for a heart that is able to hear, what the people want. So, he can be able to figure out, do they want something good? do they want something evil? What he gets instead is a wise heart so that he's able to understand what the people really need. You know, he got more than he bargained for in that. Solomon receives wisdom, and wisdom is nothing less than the thoughts of our Creator. And to understand that, you really probably should either look through the PowerPoint that's on that messianicdelaware.com or .org, or listen to the Zoom video. Solomon receives the thoughts of the Creator, and with that he receives some, what I could call radical ideas. Because let's face it, our Creator can be very radical when compared to the way we think, right? I mean, we think little things, he thinks on a much larger scale. Ecclesiastes is a book that a lot of people don't spend enough time in to realize how special that particular book is. And we're going to look at today is the last chapter of that book. Myra's going to start with the first few verses because I want to point out something you've probably not heard before the way we're going to look at it, if you want to read that part.
Remember also your Creator in the days of your youth, before the evil days happened and the years draw near in which you will say, I have no delight in them. Before the sun and the light and the moon and the stars are darkened and the clouds return after the rain. In the day that the watchmen of the house tremble and valiant men bend down, the grinding ones stand idle because they are few, and those who look through windows grow dark, and the doors on the streets are shut as the sound of the grinding mill is low. And one will arise at the sound of the bird, and all the daughters of song will sing softly. Furthermore, men are afraid of a high place and of terrors on the road. The almond tree blooms, the grasshopper drags itself along, and the caperberry is ineffective. For man goes to his eternal home, but the mourners go about in the streets. Remember him before the silver cord is snapped, and the golden bowl is crushed, and the pitcher of spring is broken, and the wheel at the cistern is crushed. Then the dust will return to the earth as it was, and the spirit will return to God who gave it. Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verses 1 through 7.
You know, I've heard this, I think, mentioned one time, and that was at a funeral years ago. Solomon, you know, he's gone through 11 chapters. He's done a lot of writing. And he says, remember the Creator. And yes, the word Creator is actually used in this verse. Throughout the years, this particular passage has been taught that it's about old age. You know, somebody's getting ready to die. You got to remember them. You've got, you know, people are mourning. People are going through the motions of when people pass away. But Solomon uses some pretty interesting language here that reminds us of the passage in Joel. You know, the sun, the moon, the stars being darkened. Is Solomon really writing about an individual growing old? Or is Solomon writing about mankind as a whole about to face Judgment Day? You know, and I like the way Solomon writes, the clouds after the rain. Well, usually after a rain, we think about blue skies, right? We don't think about clouds after a rain. It's, oh, the rain's over, there's the rainbow, we've got sunshine and blue skies on the way. But Solomon says clouds after the rain. And the watchmen of the house tremble. Well, why do they need to fear if they're actually living the way they're designed to live? You know, 365 times in the Bible it says, "Fear not, don't be afraid," something to that effect. I have no idea what that is. You want to go see? So, as we look at this, there's no need to grind grain. You grind grain for bread. The mills are silent. People are going to try to stay out of sight. They're going to hide to avoid being seen. But he says that the trees still bloom, the birds still sing. Now, the reference to the caperberry, I had to do some digging to figure this one out. Now, Myra and I like capers, okay? But capers, the way we think they are just the unripened blossoms of the caperberry. The berry itself is similar to an olive, but why would Solomon say they're ineffective? That kind of strange, right? If you look at the caperberries, what you're going to find is that they are filled with antioxidants. There are some people who consider them to be beneficial for certain skin issues if you're not allergic to them, okay? They're filled with tiny seeds, and it's a member of the mustard family. That should give us some idea of what they are. I'm not sure if there is a medicinal purpose for them. There may very well be. Anything's possible, right? To be perfectly honest, what was known in Solomon's time, what was going through his mind as he wrote this, I don't know. Man will go to his eternal home is the key phrase in this passage. Where's our eternal home? Now, a lot of Christians out there, it's talking about heaven, but that's not where we spend eternity. We spend eternity on the new earth. Or if you've rejected the Creator, you may spend your eternity being tortured in a lake of fire. Right? That's why this verse doesn't, or this passage doesn't lend itself to speaking about an individual. Solomon's writing about everyone. And just before that happens, mourners will walk the streets. It kind of reminds us of Isaiah 66:24. As they go forth, they'll see the corpses of men who have rebelled against me. Their worm will never die, their fire's never quenched. They will be a horror to all mankind. Doesn't sound pleasant, does it? Not a time where you want to be around. Let's just put it that way. And then all of a sudden, it's like he changes gears. He's like, okay, I'm done with the doom and gloom, kinda. And he changes gears. So you want to read that next part?
Vanity of vanities, says the teacher, all is vanity. In addition to being a wise man, the teacher also taught the people knowledge, and he pondered and searched out and arranged many proverbs. The teacher sought to find delightful words and words of truth written uprightly. The words of the wise men are like goads, and masters of these collections are like well-driven nails. They are given by one shepherd. Excuse me. But in addition to this, my son, be warned. The making of many books is endless, and much devotion to books is weary to the flesh. Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verses 8 through 12.
Now, some people think Solomon's talking about himself here, okay? But look at what it says. Everything's empty. Everything is worthless and meaningless. all the knowledge we have, all the poems, and all the things we try to hold on to are useless. Our traditions, our man-made doctrines, all of mankind's secular learning is meaningless. What he's actually writing about is all the things we think we know when we should have been paying attention to what is right in front of us. And Solomon's getting ready. He's preparing us for his greatest advice. All right? And I think he saves us to the end because he had planned it this way. Or maybe the Creator planned it this way. But this is what I think Solomon's greatest advice is. As wise as he was, as smart as he was, well, at least in his younger years, because as he got older, he kind of turned into that cranky old man, and all he wanted to do was party all the time, right? But listen to Solomon's greatest advice.
The end of the matter, all that has been heard. Fear God and keep his commandments, because this is the end of the matter of all kind. For God will bring every work to judgment, everything which is hidden, whether it is good or evil. Ecclesiastes 12, verses 13 and 14.
The only thing, according to Solomon, that is worthwhile, because it is the entire duty of man. The entire duty of man is to respect and fear the Creator and obey his word. That's what it boils down to. At the end of the matter, after everything's been heard, after all of our craziest ideas, after all of mankind's strangest ways of doing whatever mankind does, just look at the news. After all of that, we can put all of that away, because he says, after all of that, fear God and keep his commands. Our Creator will judge every work, not every word. By the way, you can either read Ezekiel 18 or Revelation 20. They're interchangeable right there. How many times throughout the years we've been doing this, almost 600 episodes now, have I said, it's not about what we say, it's about what we do every day. That's the reason for the t-shirt a few years ago. Pray, obey, repeat. That's the reason I constantly say, live the way our Creator designed you to live. If Solomon is the wisest man who will ever have lived or ever will live, we would kind of be foolish to ignore his advice, right? At the end of the age, when mankind is about to be judged for everything we've ever done, not what we've thought about doing, not about what we've said, we will be judged by the actions we took, what we actually did with our lives on a daily basis. And I don't care what your pastor said. I don't care what your mama told you. I don't care what your grandmama told you. Unless you're willing to repent and change the way you're living, the judgment you face, and you're going to face that judgment, it will determine your future. Now, I'm not saying you can't enjoy this life, and I'm not saying you need to live according to some man-made rules. Okay, I need to make real clear of that. What I am saying is, you should probably look at the owner's manual for life. We call it the Bible. And do the things you're able to do if you want that long, productive, successful, joy-filled, and happy life here. Because at the end of time as we know it, you're going to face the things you've done. you will be held accountable. Doesn't matter what you might have said. Doesn't matter what you might have been taught. And I'm not saying anything that isn't written and recorded as having come from our Creator, and quite often more than in one place. He never says, oh, if you just say this little prayer, you're good to go. Your visa is stamped. You don't have anything else to worry about. You won't find that anywhere in the Bible. Moses tells us exactly the same thing. David tells us exactly the same thing. Solomon tells us the same thing. And yes, Christians, Yeshua, Jesus, tells us the exact same thing. I haven't counted it or looked it up, but how many times did he say, repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand? If you look at the beginning of Matthew, that's what you're going to find. He was preaching when he first started. Respect and obey the Creator because it is our duty. It is the sole purpose of mankind. It's the way we're designed, and it can be the way you choose to live if you choose to live that way. Don't choose it because you want to go to heaven when you die. That's just kind of silly. Choose it because it's the way you're designed to live. Now, I know some of you are probably thinking, well, that's not really important right now. I can say with the confidence of experience, you're wrong. Okay? You're just wrong. It is important. Choosing our Creator over everything else will quite literally save your life. Choosing the way of our Creator doesn't mean you need to wear a suit and tie or a dress every day. Doesn't mean that you can't have fun, you can't enjoy life. It means that you choose to enjoy life the way He designed us to enjoy life. It means that you dress in a fashion that's suitable for the activities that you do. I had a preacher tell me one time, I had no respect for the house of God because I didn't wear a tie to church. Too bad for him. He should have been glad I was there at all. And I can say this, I never did go back. Not to that particular church. I wouldn't have anyway because, well, I'll just say this particular Christian pastor wouldn't be able to understand the Bible if Jesus came back and hit him over the head with it. It's just that simple. He had no clue. And he was telling me that I needed to wear a tie to church. Now, he was a different denomination than John Wesley, but John Wesley's the one credited with saying cleanliness is next to godliness. And back in John Wesley's day, people were gathering, back then you didn't bathe often. And what he was trying to tell people was, you need to get cleaned up to be around other people. Okay? You don't want to offend them by stinking. Yeah. I'm not sure how else to say that. It's just kind of the way it is. When we think about the reality that is in the Bible versus the traditions and the doctrines we have adopted, there can be a huge gap between the two. And as Solomon says, when it comes down to it, other than what is written in the Bible, our Creator really doesn't care what you wear as long as you're willing to live His way. And the sad thing is, that's more than a lot of people are willing to do. That is more than what a lot of people are willing to do. That's more than a lot of people who go to church every Sunday are willing to do. They'll go sit and listen for their hour of. I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to do this. When preachers, Christian preachers especially, say, "Oh, you've got to tithe your 10%." How much time is in a week? Are they giving 10% of their time? Or are they just throwing a check in the offering plate and calling it good? It doesn't matter what you wear. It doesn't matter what you think about, as much as some people like to say some other things. It matters what you actually do. You're not judged on your thoughts. You're not judged on what you say. You're judged by your deeds, your actions. If you're not willing to live the way you're designed to live, you're not choosing his way. I had someone ask me last week, what would I say to someone who claims they're a believer, but they are a homosexual or a transgender or something along that lines? And I know what they were after. And my response was, I would say the same exact thing to them as I would say to any pastor or any rabbi that tries to force millions of years of evolution into the creation story. I would tell them they didn't believe the Bible and they did not trust their Creator. That's what I would say to them. Don't be like those folks. Choose his way so that you can enjoy a long, productive, joyful life. Solomon's best advice: respect your Creator and just live the way you're designed to live. Sound familiar? I hope so. So until Thursday, we wish you many, many blessings, everyone.
Yes.